everybody.
Oh, you're taking pictures?
I was going to take a video.
Welcome
She's
to the Quilt Show, #1, and we are Amador Valley Quilters, Quilts of Valor, and we are here to present a Quilt of Valor to a very special member. Elizabeth Taylor is a past president of AVQ, and she is also a very important member of Quilts of Valor. We quilt every Monday, excluding holidays, at the Veterans Memorial Building in Livermore. And Elizabeth and Larry come all the way over from Castro Valley to participate. So thank you very much, Elizabeth, for being a part of our group. You're an important part. So if I could get a big round of the word thank you and yell it out to our veteran Elizabeth. Let's just say thank you. Thank you! I love starting it out like that. It's just releasing all that wonderful energy. Quilts of Valor Foundation began in 2003 with our founder, Catherine Roberts. 2003, 21 years ago. 3 ladies got together after Catherine Roberts had a dream, literally a dream. Her son was serving in Iraq, and she saw a young man sitting at the edge of his bed, war demons all around him, and she went to this young man and wrapped a quilt around him and felt him relax and felt the war demons leave him. After that dream, she got together with 2 other quilters. They decided to make the first Quilt of Valor. They made the Quilt of Valor. Then they said, now who are we going to give it to? They talked to a chaplain that they knew, and the chaplain said, I know a young man at Walter Reed Hospital who is in very bad condition after coming back from deployment. Will you present him his Quilt of Valor? Well, they did, and that was the first Quilt of Valor presented in 2003. Fast forward 21 years later, 11,000 members nationally, 660 registered groups making Quilts of Valor for veterans. Nationally, over 393,702 Quilts of Valor have been presented. That is incredible. Yeah. Locally, we are up to number 975. That's really something. And the group here in Livermore with Amador Valley Quilters started, I believe it was year 2013, after they saw a presentation to a veteran. They said, let's do the same thing and let's join Quilts of Valor and make these quilts. And we've been going strong ever since. So the process begins with a nomination, and we have the nomination information up in front. So please, if you know someone that is a veteran, nominate that veteran for a Quilt of Valor. Let's get these veterans their quilts and not make them wait until they're 75, 85 years old. I just gave a Quilt of Valor to a 100-year-old who served in World War II. Wow. He could have got his quilt in 2013. Where's the family? They said that they just weren't thinking about it. So I'd like to start with a little background on Elizabeth. Elizabeth enlisted in the Army immediately after graduating from high school in 1967. She completed her basic training at Fort McClellan in Alabama, and then she transferred to Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas, where she started to train in the laboratory science at Brooke Army Medical Center. During the Vietnam War, Brooke Army Medical Center was the Army's primary medical center, and as such, the most severely wounded soldiers were sent there by medevac flights. Elizabeth worked in both the burn and orthopedic wards, where she drew blood samples for lab testing from these soldiers. She says that sometimes the soldiers there needed a friendly voice and smile, and she and the others tried to provide that even though it was difficult at times. Now, I heard this directly from Elizabeth Taylor. And as you all know, Elizabeth Taylor is a very kind and compassionate lady. And she told me that she would treat the burn victims and the orthopedic soldiers with orthopedic problems, limbs missing, in a lot of pain. She would treat them very gently and with a tremendous amount of compassion. And if that isn't being touched by war, nothing is. She was kind and compassionate, and that's what her job required. She later transferred to Beaumont Army Hospital at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. She remembers a scenario reminiscent of the movie MASH, when helicopters flew over the barracks during the night. After Elizabeth's husband, an Army combat medic, okay, they had a double trouble. I mean, that's brutal.
There was 2 Larrys.
Yeah.
Yeah, two Larrys, she says.
Separate.
Larry 1 and Larry 2.
Yeah.
She was transferred to the 97th General Hospital in Frankfurt, Germany. There she helped treat soldiers from a different and largely unknown conflict. These soldiers, who were in isolation wards, were evacuated from the former Belgian Congo. There was a civil war going on there, and the Congolese army had American Special Force advisors with them. These soldiers were mostly ill with unknown tropical diseases. Now, can you imagine that was the 1960s, early 70s? And they didn't have hazmat suits in those days, folks. She had to go in there. She was risking her life to help these veterans. When her late husband, Larry 1, returned from Vietnam, Elizabeth left the Army. After experiencing all this, she became a supporter of veterans. Elizabeth is an accomplished quilter and has completed many quilts of valor. Elizabeth Taylor, Army, 1967 to 1971, Vietnam and Cold War. The mission of Quilts of Valor Foundation is to cover service members and veterans with comforting and healing quilts of valor. And yes, they do heal. Your quilt is an expression of gratitude, meant to thank and comfort you for leaving all you hold dear, to serve in time of crisis or in time of peace. It has been written by an author unknown that a quilt of valor, that a veteran is someone who at one point in their life wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America for an amount of up to and including their life. Elizabeth, your quilt of valor unequivocally says thank you for your service, sacrifice, and valor in serving our nation. As there are those resolved to serve their country, so are we resolved to honor and comfort them. We will never forget the men and women who served our great nation. Though we may never know the depth of your sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America and our Constitution, as a gesture of gratitude of a grateful nation and grateful citizens, we award you your Quilt of Valor. On behalf of Quilts of Valor Foundation, please know that when you feel like you need a hug, wrap yourself in your Quilt of Valor and know that it is a hug made with love, made by Donna Faye Bauer. Yours And we'd like you to step right up here because now we're going to unveil your quilt. So come right out in front of Elizabeth, show her the quilt first, and then we'll show the audience the quilt. That's an incredible quilt. And then I'll get it up the way so you can put it around. If you want to bring your to wrap it around Elizabeth, and once it's wrapped around Elizabeth, let's yell out welcome home, because the Vietnam veterans didn't get to hear that very much. So ladies, you want me to do that? No. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome home.
Anything you'd like to say? You do speak into the
I'd like to thank my husband for nominating me. There was times when I didn't think I would just keep making them and didn't think I needed one, but he convinced me it was important, and Michelle, and Donathan, thank you very much. Darla quilted it. And Darla quilted it, thank you Darla. And I just want to thank this whole guild and friends of the guild and people who are here today. Yes, it was interesting, but I learned a lot and I grew up from the age 18 really fast. So just be aware of your kids and your children who are out there. Support them as much as you can. So I had that support. So thank you for my family who's here, and my daughter is a military person as well, and my husband and his daughter and friends, and so thank you.
I know. Now where's the Kleenex? Thank you everyone for your time.